Right, so hello and welcome to one of a series of chats with Cricket Society committee members, where I'll have a chance to talk to the people who make the society tick about their cricketing lives. And today I'm talking to Mick Kelly. Hi Mick.
Hi Geoff.
Mick joined the Cricket Society in 2018 and he became a committee member in 2019. He got into cricket in his early 20s, and the first professional match he saw was the Boxing Day Test at the MCG in 2000 in Australia. He played for Oak Hill Cricket Club based in Barnet. As an off-spinner, he had his best season in 2005, winning the coveted Bowler of the Year tankard. More to do with him breaking his thumb, having played the required matches to qualify for the award than any skill he might possess, but the stats don't lie. At Oak Hill, he held positions of social secretary, fixtures secretary, honorary secretary and scorer, so a busy guy. Mick follows Middlesex and England and was part of the excellent Cricket Society tour to Cape Town in 2020. He prefers the shorter forms of the game and has been to every T20's final day since 2010. Away from cricket, Mick was a keen amateur footballer, playing every Saturday for Old Woodhouseians FC, until age and injuries got the better of him and he hung up his boots in 2019. He also enjoys live music and usually is at a gig or two most weeks, but probably not at the moment, I'm guessing, Mick, in the light of COVID and all of these kinds of things. But
no, I haven't been to a gig since March, I think.
Yeah, but I believe you're the youngest member of the exec, so how did you first hear about the Cricket Society?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm the youngest member, Geoff. I think Raf might be younger than me, so you might need to check with her. I'm pretty sure she's younger than me.
I never ask a lady
no,
her age.
No, exactly, and neither have I, so maybe I am, I don't know. She looks younger than me anyway. So how did I become a member of the Cricket Society? So my mate Andrew Cashmore-Till, who's also on the exec, I've known him for quite a long time, and through football, basically, for amateur football, we both serve on the Amateur Football Combinations Executive Committee. And he mentioned the Cricket Society a few times. He knew I liked cricket, and he invited me along to one of the awards lunches at the Oval in March. It must have been March 2018, I think. Yeah, and it was free lunch, so I don't want to turn down a free lunch. So I went along. It was really good. It was really good to see all the awards that we gave out to kind of young and promising cricketers. Speakers were really good. I think it was Agnew was the speaker that day. He was really good. So I think in a kind of a sort of a moment of where I had my defences down, Cash be quite persuasive, and he sort of didn't make me join. He sort of suggested that, seeing that he'd given me a free lunch, I should probably join the Cricket Society. And then I took away one of the leaflets that were given out, and I ended up going away, filling that in, sending it off. Became a full member, yeah, and then I've been a member for 2 years. It's been really good.
Yeah, and you got into cricket quite late, so what switched you onto cricket in your 20s?
Yeah, so that's right. I mean, I grew up, football was really my main sport. I mean, you mentioned I used to play football, and at school, I played football at school, also played hockey. My family, my dad was really massively into sport. He's Irish, so Irish games like hurling and Gaelic football, but he also did like cricket. I remember him taking me up to watch Cockfosters Cricket Club, which was my local team, sort of amateur club. I used to go watch them. I think that was more to get me out of my mum's hair, and so he could go and have a pint. So I've got memories of that, but yeah, I never really, it was just something that although cricket was on in the house, my dad used to watch it, was nothing I ever used to watch. I mean, I'm a Man U fan, so again, that's down to my dad and my brother. We used to watch football a lot. I ended up getting into cricket, as you said in your introduction. My first professional game, I think, was at the Boxing Day Test at the MCG, so it's quite a good game to go and watch.
It's all downhill from there, I think.
Yeah, so they were playing the West Indies, the Aussies, and I was backpacking, so I was in a hostel, and I had a mate, one of my mates, Kieran, who I went travelling with, and Kieran, actually, I've got him to become a member of the Cricket Society. He got tickets with some other guys from the hostel who liked cricket, and I thought, you know what, I'll go along, I like sport. Went along, obviously the day after Christmas Day. I was very, very hungover. I had quite a lot to drink, and we were up. I don't know if you've ever been to the MCG, but it's huge. It holds 100,000. Yeah. We were in the highest tier. It was almost felt like you were going to fall out. But from now, I kind of got a little bit into cricket. When I got back from Australia, a lot of my mates had started playing for Oak Hill Cricket Club, who you mentioned. My mate's dad was the chairman, and then my mate ended up becoming the captain, and he got a lot of us into play. None of us had really ever played cricket. We'd all played football. So we ended up, I used to go and watch them, and then they wrote me in to play one day because they were sure. I started playing, found out I could spin the ball a little bit, I don't think I could actually. And then I ended up score. You know, you kind of get roped in, ended up, will you score? And then, Mick, you don't mind organising things, and you be social secretary. And then after that, I got more and more into it. And I think the one thing that really turned me on was 2005 Ashes series. So I remember that really, really clearly. Watching some of those matches and just how close it was, and England not retaining the Ashes, winning the Ashes for the first time in like 20 years or something.
I think extraordinary.
It was. And I remember I was working just off the Strand at the time, and after they won it, they did a parade through London in an open top bus. So I went out and watched them go past. So from that, and sort of playing with Oak Hill, I ended up going to a few more matches. I remember I went to watch England v India, I think. I went to when the T20 World Cup was in England, I think that was in 2008, and then I ended up going to every T20 final for like the last 10 years. Like this year, it was supposed to be this Saturday, used to go on, obviously haven't been. And from that, one day cricket, Test cricket, and all cricket now really. I like.
And so, like T20, is that your preferred format, or are you? How do you feel about the shorter form of the game? Some people. Are kind of still slightly sniffy about things like that.
No, to me, it's cricket. It's all cricket. I don't mind any form of the game. I do like T20. I like the fact that the different kind of variety of shots people play. There's always something happening. So it can potentially be a six of every ball or a wicket of every ball, and I really like that. And then now you're seeing those sorts of more, I suppose you would call them daring shots, like scoop shots or helicopter shots. A helicopter shot is something I found out about the other day. Or sweep shots, reverse sweeps. They're all coming into like ODIs now, and one day, and even into Test cricket, you're seeing them now. So I think it's kind of that sort of shorter form of the game is having a real impact on longer form of the game. And the way I described it, I'd written an article actually for the Cricket Society. It hasn't seen the light of day, but it's our 75th anniversary this year. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Dean, about cricket and the different sorts, and he basically said, it's like music. People like different sorts of music, and he kind of made that analogy. And I shamelessly stole that idea off him and put it in this article, which basically said that Test cricket and county cricket is like classical music. And then you've got sort of one day or 50 over cricket. That's like your classic rock, so like the Who or something like that. And then T20, I said that was like metal. And then or punk, and then the 100. So that's so new. That's like grime or trap music. So, and the point is there's all lots of different sorts of music and lots of different sorts of cricket, and it doesn't mean you can't enjoy all of it or some of it. But I'm not really somebody who would sort of denigrate somebody for liking a different sort of music than I do, or same with cricket really.
I think you've got a really good marketing idea for the ECB there. So.
You could do that, couldn't you? I don't know if you made. I think it would cost a lot to get Stormzy to come and maybe do an opening at the 100 or something, but you don't know.
And you went to Cape Town with the Cricket Society last year, so it's kind of a baptism of fire for you, was it? As kind of a fairly new member? Was it raucous times? Was it more like being on a grime tour or going to Wigmore Hall? It was more like listening to Tchaikovsky, I would say. But with like a mashup with a bit of like rock, a bit of punk thrown in. No, it was good. It was really, really good actually, Cape Town. I'd never been to South Africa before. It was an interesting place to go to just because of kind of the social history and stuff. But the cricket was really good. It was a full 5 days, and I think the final day was it was almost a full day of play. I think it finished at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So I think Sibley got 100. There was some really good bowling. We had very good seats in the pavilion, speaking to the locals. It was really good, and actually, I mean, the age range was. I was the youngest on that tour. I might not be the youngest in the executive, but there was somebody else, a guy called Mark. He was a few years older than me, and then I think everyone else was either like sort of early 50s to sort of up to 80s. But everyone got on really well. I mean, that age thing wasn't really an issue. We had some really good sort of meals out. We went on tours to places like Stellenbosch, Cape of Good Hope, Robben Island. Went to the botanical gardens. It was really well organised.
Yeah, it was good. Good value. It was fairly, in comparison to some of the other tours that I'd been looking at, it was quite well priced. And I suppose I was a little bit nervous because I didn't really know that many people. I mean, I'd met Nigel Hancock, who's our chair, our glorious leader, as I've heard him referred to on another podcast. Phil Reeves went on the tour as well, so I kind of knew Phil from the meetings of the exec that I'd been to when I kind of joined the exec. But what was good about it was that before we all went on tour, a lot of the group met up for a meal about a month before, so we actually got to know a few people at that as well. So
it was very friendly and
really friendly. There was everyone really got on. I mean, the only downside, well, it's not a downside, but we kept losing people, or people kept going missing. So there was one day, one guy, he missed the bus to go back. Well, he didn't miss the bus. What had happened? So at the end of play, we had to meet up on a corner near the ground, near Newlands, to get on the bus to go back to the hotel. And unbeknownst to this guy, basically we'd moved the meet point, and we thought we'd told everyone, but we hadn't told him. And he got lost, but I managed to find him, get him back on the bus. Then there was another day, went to the Botanical Gardens, and we lost somebody else. But then the best one was we went up Table Mountain. Like, not all of us, some of us went up. Some people have been before.
Pretty stiff.
But we got the cable car up the mountain. So we were on there, and then me and this guy Mark, we got stuck up Table Mountain. So we kept basically losing things. So basically, what happened was we were queuing to go back down to get onto the cable car, and you could see the rest of the group just ahead of us. They got on the cable car, and then we were left, and we got to go through, and she's like, "Where's your ticket to go down?" The lady at the attendant said, "What ticket?" She said, "Oh, you can't go down, you haven't got a ticket." And so we're like, but our tour group, the tour leader had it. So in the end, they ended up doing a tannoy. We thought we were going to be stuck up there. We could have paid to get back down, but we're like, no, we're very British about it. No, we paid for our ticket. We ended up they did a tannoy announcement for us, and he ended up coming back up to get us, and then we went back down, and he was quite embarrassed about it. But that was quite interesting. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Qriket Society tour to anyone. We were going to go to India in February or March next year, but obviously with
it's difficult
current situation, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think the thing with cricket is that because it's played in quite exotic places, it's always quite a good holiday as well.
Yeah, the tour's always going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's hope there will be something next winter, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing the Qriket Society do, which is good, is which I haven't been on myself yet. They do days at the cricket, so that's in the UK. So this year they had to cancel, but they were planning to go to one of the women's ODIs, and I think they were going to have another day, a day at Kent, where they kind of have you pay a fee and you get food and you get a drink and your entry into the ground. So they're normally quite good, I think.
Fingers crossed it'll pick up again next year.
Yeah.
So you've been to quite a lot of high-profile cricket matches, but one of the questions I've been asking everybody is if you could get a ticket for any cricket match in history, which would you choose to go to?
Yeah, that's a good question. And although I've only been watching cricket, last 10 years. I have been to quite a lot. I was lucky enough to go to the World Cup final last year. So
one of the best games of all time. So.
Yeah, I don't know if that can be topped. And again, that is due to Cash, who I mentioned at the start. He got me a ticket for that. I effectively took his ticket because he won't mind me saying he had surgery on his back like a month before the final started, and he said, if I can't go, you can have my ticket. So I ended up.
So you were treading on his back for a few weeks.
I was kind of ringing him up, going, I hope you're getting better, but can you just not get too well too quickly? But no, so I ended up getting his ticket. That was amazing. I mean, it was all a bit of a blur. So going back, that would be definitely one. But I mean, other matches, I was thinking about this, and I've been sort of at days of the cricket, like the day before, the day after something really spectacular has happened. So I went to the Oval the day before Alistair Cook got his century in his last ever Test match 3 years ago. I went to Headingley last year, the day before Ben Stokes did that heroic sort of batting, and I was watching that actually on my phone on the coach on the way back from Leeds to London because there was no train. And it got down, I was watching it, my battery was getting less and less. It got down to England needed 2 runs to win and my battery died. And I missed, and I had to wait another hour and a half. to get home and actually see what the score was. And but the other one was I went to Trent Bridge the day after Stuart Broad took all those wickets in 2015 against the Aussies in the Ashes. And I think that day at Trent Bridge would be one of the ones I would really.
That was an amazing.
Want to go. Yeah. You could just see. I mean, I was in a meeting at work at the time, and I get notifications on my phone whenever there's a wicket, and it kept going off. Who's texting me? And I got off. I was like, wow, there's like 4 wickets gone. And then I was texting my mates that I was going to the cricket with the next day. Going, God, you see what's going on? And they go, oh, there's another one and another one. So the atmosphere in the ground seemed amazing, and actually, you could just see some of the disbelief on his face as well, Broad's face, as what was happening. There was one catch in the slips. I can't remember who took it, but it was just. Was it? I can't remember who it was, but it was ridiculous. It was like behind, diving to his right behind him. So that would probably be the one I go to. I mean, I went the following day, and the atmosphere then was brilliant. I mean, the Aussies were copping quite a bit of sledging from the Australian crowd from the English guys, but you give as good as you get, I think, sometimes.
That's
in the
part
Ashes.
of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've been on the committee for a while, and obviously you've been going to events. I mean, which event would you pick out as being a highlight for you since you've been a member? Because that's one of the big things that the society does, isn't it?
Yeah, so the society does a lot. So obviously there's the, if you remember, you get the bulletin and the journal, so there's some written stuff there. For me, I think being a member of the Cricket Society is more like the social aspect. So I really do enjoy the event, and as I mentioned, the tour. I think if I was going to pick out some, I'll pick out a kind of a lunch sort of dinner one, and then I'll pick out an event. So the last lunch I went to at the Oval, in the long room at the Oval, was really good. And that was really because I had Chris Lewis speaking. Yeah. And I think obviously everyone is well documented some of the issues he had when he sort of left the game. He was just so honest about that side of what had happened, about that he'd had a really good cricket career, but he just took it for granted, and he didn't sort of end up saving any money. And he ended up getting into the situation where he was effectively smuggling drugs into the country, got caught, and ended up going to prison for a number of years. And now he's sort of dedicated some of his life to going around to sort of young cricketers, professional cricketers, to say, look, you need to look. Cricket's only but a very small part of your life. You need to save up and get a pension and stuff like that. So that's hearing him speak was really good. That was a really good event. And I mean, the lunches are always good. The food's always good. There's normally quite a lot of wine involved. And then in terms of events, there's 2, I think. I did say 1, but I'll say 2, so it's 3 in total. Was one, the first one I went to, which was an author. It was Stephen Fay. I think he sadly passed away last year. He'd written a book with somebody called, I think, David Kinnison, about Arlott and Swanson, and that's when I first met Nigel, and I never knew who Arlott and Swanson was. So I think he was just quite intrigued about how you could be at the event and not know these 2 kind of giants of commentary. And I suppose the thing is, I had never really got into cricket properly, and say till 2005, I'd never heard of them. But it was just a really interesting talk to hear about their relationship and sort of the impact that they had on sort of commentators. And then the other one was there's 3 actually. There's 3. Sorry. The other one was Fred Rumsey, who was a cricketer, I think, in the 50s and 60s, and that was at the Liberal Club, and he was really good. He was in his 80s, and I didn't realise, but he was responsible for setting up like the Professional Cricketers Association, like the union. Yeah. So he was instrumental in sort of sorting out things like pay rises and stuff, and getting cricketers a good deal and professionalising the sport and stuff like that. And then the last one was the most recent one, which was Charlotte Edwards. The Zoom one recently that was organised, just to sort of hear her. She's a very recently retired cricketer. She's involved in the game still with and coaching. Broke loads of records in terms of England.
Amazing
player. An amazing player. Just to hear some of the challenges she'd faced, sort of as a woman growing up in the game. Stuff like she was playing with boys, cricket boys, when she was playing and coming up. Yeah, really good. So that's more than 1. That's 4 in total. But I always find the events are always, for somebody who hasn't really got a really good knowledge of cricket beyond say 2000, and I don't really read that much about cricket. I think those events, I always learn something new when I go to them. So
I think that just shows the variety of the events that the society have been putting on recently, but also the increasing variety I think that's coming up.
I think that's completely right, and I think. There are definitely plans to not speaking for Nick Tudball, who organises the events, but I know that he's keen to get different sorts of events on and do more by Zoom. I think with the kind of the COVID, we are doing Zoom events, and I think there's probably more people who haven't been to events, if they're in London, can actually join in remotely via via their computer. And also, more on women. So the one Raf's done, we've had 2 events this year, both on women's cricket. So Raf did one about a book that she'd written, and then the Charlotte Edwards. We were also going to do the one on women's cricket, the ODI, the event at the cricket. So hopefully we'll have some more varied events around, not just sort of men's Red Ball cricket, but all sorts of cricket. Never know, maybe the 100.
Yeah, well, that would be great to have a 100 event, wouldn't it? It might be.
I don't know what the current
provocative debate.
It would be quite. I think it would be quite. Provoke debate is probably quite a good term to describe it. I mean, I'm quite interested in the 100 myself.
Yeah.
I had tickets to go and see London Spirit at Lord's. I had a couple of tickets because I'm a Middlesex member, as you said, and they were doing deals. I think the tickets were only like 12 quid. Yeah,
from memory, it was very, very reasonable.
Really good. And I was kind of, I know there's been a lot of people are kind of anti the 100, but I'm thinking, it's cricket at the end of the day. You're going to see some of the best players in the world playing. I mean, it might be 10 overs or 10 balls or whatever it is. But that's the point I came from it. Try and get into a bit of grime. You never know. But I think some of these issues were kind of around when T20 came in. People were very anti T20, and now that is like the lifeblood of a lot of counties. I think there's about 10 or 12 test playing countries, something like that. I think there's like 100 T20 playing countries in the world.
I think it's a really good analogy, because I remember being sort of mildly anti-T20 until Middlesex won it, and Tyrone Henderson, who I'd never heard of, turned out to be an amazing T20 player. Never made any impact, as far as I know, as a kind of a Red Ball cricketer.
No, and also I think with the 100, it's going to be televised on terrestrial TV, I think. So it's going to be a much broader audience will be able to watch it. So it might start getting, so like the way that I got into cricket was with sort of T20, ODI, and I like Test. I like it all. I like Test cricket as well. So I think sometimes with Test cricket, when I was in Cape Town, there was one day, I think it was day 2, and there was like one session where literally there was like 5 runs scored, and it's just
slow scoring.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're not. Imagine if that's your first ever day of cricket you ever go to. It might put you off potentially, but if it's a T20 match where there'd be a 6 is hit every sort of 5th or 6th ball, and there's a wicket every couple of overs, it's a lot more exciting and the way to draw people in. And I think that's maybe what the 100 might bring. But one thing I would say about the 100, I did watch they did a live draft of players on Sky. I think it was on Sky. And it wasn't very good. So they need to get that kind of. I think they try to do it a bit razzmatazz like they do with American sports. And it was just like a group of men sitting in a room going, I'll pick that one, and it felt like a bit like fantasy cricket, you know. So they need to sort that side out of it. But I mean, having gone to the T20 Finals day for the last 10 years, as you said, they're always really good days. A lot of stuff going on. They're really good.
It's nice to talk to somebody who's really enthusiastic about the future of cricket, because I think often sort of cricket is in a permanent sense of decline since, as a cricket historian, since the 1900s, as far as I can tell. There's always people complaining about cricket, and actually it's one of the most exciting, dynamic sports across the range of the way that it's played, including Test matches. I mean, there's been some great Test matches this summer.
The ones that have been played this summer behind closed doors have been really, really good to watch actually, and because I've been working from home, I've often don't tell my boss, but I've often sort of just watched an hour or so. And it's been really riveting stuff actually. But like, I think cricket's the most second watched sport, isn't it, after football in the world? It's like 2.5 billion because of the all the Asian cricket. And I mean the IPL, the Indian Premier League, it's huge. The crowds there are huge, and it's got a lot of viewers. I think there's room for it all. So,
Well, that's great. It's a really good, positive way to end the interview. And, thanks for talking to me today.
No problem. Thanks a lot.